Okay, so this is the beginning of the second Arboretum walk, and actually we're not going to be in the Arboretum for very long. Mostly we're going to be in the neighborhood. There's lots of really cool gardens and good plants in it. So first of all, I wanted to start at this lovely yellow house, which is right at the entrance here. And she's got a bunch of things going on in here. So first of all, we have some really beautiful Katsura trees. So Cercidophyllum japonicum, in the family of Cercidophyllaceae. Um, and they're just really, really lovely. Looks like they're both male, not 100% sure on that. But they've got those nice round heart-shaped leaves. And it's just really pretty to the contrast. So this lady is the yellow house, and she obviously likes lime and yellow, and she's got lots of lime and yellow in her garden. And the next house is this gray house, and they clearly like purple. So there's a purple beech. So that is Fagus sylvatica from the Purpureus group, and it looks like it's variegated too. You can see the little pink around the outside, which is really lovely, and typical of the beech are that smooth gray bark. And then they also have a forest pansy red bud. So this red leaves, the heart-shaped leaves. So this is a Cercis canadensis forest pansy in the Fabaceae family. And of course beeches, as you probably know, are in the Fagaceae family. Okay, we'll go back to this little yellow house here. So she's got a lot of broadleaf evergreen. And then we have Spirea niponicum, and I can't remember what the variety is. Tosta something. Anyway, so that is the. I'm going to look it up, and then we'll know for sure. Because it's not coming to me mentally here. So we will go with Spirea. Spirea niponicum var tossaensis for snow mound spirea. So a little thicker leaves than if it were Thunbergii, but thinner leaves than Benhudii. Still got that blue-green color, and you can see from the flowers they were not in round clusters so much as just coming along the top of the branches. All right, and then we're going to go back over this way. And underneath the tree here, she's got a rhododendron japonicum for an azalea mollis. And then here, this is Salix purpurea nana for the dwarf Alaskan purple willow, or dwarf purple osier is the other name for that, in the family Salicaceae. Above us here is a box elder. So that's the acer that doesn't look like an acer, and it's Acer negundo. We have the variegated form on the list, but the variegated is really hard to find. And this one is right here, not looking particularly healthy, but you can see the 3 lobed leaves of Acer negundo for the box elder. Underneath the telephone pole here, or light post, is the laburnum anagyroides, and so you can see the 3-leaf forms with a lighter underside. It's got spent flowers that turn into little beans, and it pops up all over the place. So somebody at some point probably planted one, and now the whole neighborhood has them. And that is obviously in the Fabaceae family for golden chain tree. Okay, we're just going to walk down into the Arboretum this way. So she's got a vine maple there, so Acer circinatum. Underneath you can just see coming up that there is a double file viburnum. So that's Viburnum plicatum var tomatosum, and then another laburnum anagyroides, and then this gorgeous smoke tree, so the lime form of it, so for Catinus cogigria, and that's in the family of Anacardiaceae. Okay, and then she's got a Cusa dogwood, so Cornucusa in Cornaceae, and then a really beautiful birch overhead is Betula pendula for the European white birch. And then here we have some forsythia. So we talked the other day, this is the spork plant that has this smooth base on the leaf and then the super serrated front part of it. You can also see the bumps on the stems from all the lenticels, and sort of that golden color is also indicative that it's forsythia. We've got some snowberries here too, so Symphorbicarpus albus, and that's in the Caprifoliaceae family. Also in this cluster we have Caria. You can see some spent flowers and then an actual flower. So Caria japonica pleniflora, because it's the double flowers. You can see the flowers are double, and that's in Rosaceae family. And we have some Umlaria. This is the most dramatic plums I've ever seen on the Umlaria. Normally you don't actually see the plums very often because they get eaten, but those bright red petioles are just stunning. So Umlaria cerasiformis for Indian plum in the Rosaceae family. And also here we have Philadelphus coronarius for the sweet mock orange. If you get a chance to put your nose in those and smell them, they're just gorgeous. And you can see the form of them. They create this sort of caning upright structure that then arches over. And that is in the Hydrangeaceae family. All right, we're going to continue into the Arboretum. Hopefully the rain will hold off. And here we have an ash. So we've got these round leaves of this ash. So that's very typical of latifolia. So this is Fraxinus latifolia for the Oregon ash in the family Oleaceae, and then you can see the seed pods here. That's typical ash. And there's also Crataegus monogyna for the common English one seed hawthorn. But yeah, so have a look at the ash. We haven't seen that many of them. It's kind of way up there. Actually, that's a cherry way up there. It's down here. And so, but the seed pods will definitely give you away. All right, we're gonna go into the Arboretum. We come into the conifers, but there's a couple of conifers on our list that I want to have you guys look at. And then we'll come straight out again and cruise more around the neighborhood. So we're gonna go past the Cunninghamia here. So when we get to the fork in the path, we're gonna go right. And we're gonna look at these two here. So both this big one and this little one are both Japanese larches. So they are Larix campheri. So they don't have that long branching that the English do. It's, you know, these ones are longish, but if you were to see them come up beside the European, you'd see they're much longer. And then we have these, so you have the needles coming out of the spurs, and there's a nice soft cluster of needles. But the cones, these are the female cones, and you see how the lips hang down. That's a really good sign that it's a campheri, and then as they mature they just hang down even more. So Larix campheri for Japanese larch in the family of Pinaceae, which is the family of the needled conifers. And then this is just a bigger form of it here. No, sorry, this one's a decidua. So this is, but it is a cultivar of the decidua called Polonica. And it just seems to be a finer form of it. But then you can see the contrast of the cones here. So this is Larix decidua, and you can see that the lip isn't hanging down. It is very upright and kind of close to the cone itself. Similar feeling of the spurs. Maybe the cluster is a little less dramatic. Is that a good word? It doesn't have that thick spur at the bottom. But then there's this really super duper draping effect on the branches. And the branches tend to be tan here, where the ones over there tend to be a little more purpley. So let's go look to see that it tends to be a little sort of more red tones and purple tones. So the Japanese larch is Larix campheri, and then the European larch is Larix decidua. And so those are our two larches on our list. We've seen Metasequoia glyptostroboides, which is our other one of the conifers, or the gymnosperms. And he doesn't seem to be here, but you know what he's looked at. We've looked at him a bunch of times. The other gymnosperm on the list is ginkgo. So here's a big, beautiful ginkgo. So he's Ginkgo biloba in the family of Ginkgoaceae, and that's just straight up ginkgo, or we can call him maidenhair tree. Super, super typical leaf for the ginkgos, and they're quite leathery and pretty. This one we can only hope is a male, and I think it is. We don't see any fruiting or any evidence that it did cone before or fruit before, so he should be an easy one to identify. And then we have here another vine maple, so Acer circinatum. If you feel like digging deep, there's other deciduous conifers in here, but they're not on our list. But I wanted to draw your attention to this big guy here, actually, these two. So these are the Taxodium disticums. So they are bald or swamp cypresses, and you can see that because they're not in a super wet area, they haven't developed the knees at the bottom. So in contrast to the Metasequoia, you have this really even trunk, and you can see that it's got the stripy ridges down it, and its needles or foliage tends to be longer and thinner and pointier than the Metasequoia, and less sort of two rank. If you see this, you can see that there's needles coming out this way and this way, while if it were the dawn redwood, it would be sort of this way and this way. None of it sort of coming out at you. The branches tend to be curved, which is a distinguishing feature. This area is not probably wet enough, and you can't actually see if there were any knees present because it's all got all this horsetails and such. What else can I tell you about the Metasequoia? Cones are different. They're big balls, and I actually don't see them very often. While the Metasequoia, you definitely have those grenades, and they are evident. This guy doesn't seem to cone it as much. So Taxodium disticum for bald or swamp cypress in the family of Pinaceae. Right, and then there's also the absence of armpits. Although this does look sort of slightly armpity, but it's not to the degree that it would be for the Metasequoia. And we're just going to go across here too, because this is another one on our list. And this is a big tree, and it's got these shiny leaves and the naked flowers. So there's no petals and there's no bract. And this is Tupelo. So this is Nyssa sylvatica. Right now in the family Cornaceae. I think it's going to go into Nysaceae, and you can tell from the shiny leaves and these little clusters of flowers. And mostly, if he were younger, the branches would be very, very horizontal, but as he ages, the branches sort of droop. And he is going to be glorious in the fall. He will develop all kinds of colors and just be really, really stunning. Okay, so this is all we're going to do in the Arboretum. I'm going to turn the video off, and we'll go out to the entrance by that yellow house again.